Hi, my name is Shoenice22, aka Shoenice22. A lot of people think I'm a complete idiot, but actually I'm a professional idiot with decades of experience.
Oh my god, that's good.
Hey everyone, Shoenice again. Well, basically... you guys know my buddy Shoenice.
The YouTuber Shoenice, formerly known as Shoenice22 or Chris for short, has been knocking around YouTube for a very long time. Arguably one of the most polarizing characters on the platform, what's interesting is that he isn't really spoken about on YouTube that much, even after eating glue and just being kind of crass. I personally first heard of him when he was mentioned on the H3H3 podcast, and I genuinely couldn't believe my eyes. How has Shoenice been swept up underneath the rug in 2019? After hearing about him, I decided that this may be an interesting video to make, so if I do miss out some info on the history of Shoenice, let me know in the comments. So, Shoenice's son created his channel for him in 2008, and he became known as the guy who would eat anything to end world hunger. Don't know how those two things correlate, but I'm not gonna dim his light. He was a big deal 6 years ago, with Vice making a short documentary of him, from Shoenice talking about his estranged relationship with his son and ex-wife, to why he exclusively lives at motels, to a member of Vice feeding the guy glue. But moving away from the shock factors in the video, Shoenice had a rough upbringing. He spoke about how his mother would leave him and his brothers to go on benders and show up a week later, and when this would happen there'd be no food in the house, so he would have tissue sandwiches to keep him from starvation. He notes his mother was a good person, but just not meant to be a parent. Shoenice does say he must get his taste for alcohol from his mother. And he also talks about how they would jump around apartments because him and his brothers were too crazy for the landlords. From all of this, you can tell that Shoenice had a dysfunctional upbringing, which more than likely influenced his career choice. I feel like being the weird kid that eats dirt and tissues does not just come from nowhere. And if that wasn't enough, Chris is also a war veteran, who would have seen things that would scar any human being. After learning about his past, his actions on his YouTube channel start to make a lot more sense. The comments on the Vice video weren't that positive, surprise surprise. Instead, Vice were called out for being low enough to put him on, and he was called a deadbeat dad. But there was another side to the argument, where a lot of people just felt sorry for him, since the common consensus was that he was struggling mentally. If you scroll down the comment section, you'll actually see Shoenice comment back to people, with the last one dating back to 3 weeks ago. It's interesting that he would go back 6 years later to the video and tell people to check out his new channel, and trust me, there is a lot of criticism in the comments, but his response is just, I'm still alive, check out my channel. But moving on to his content. His videos have always followed the same format of him staring into the camera whilst just scoffing down anything he can get his hands on. From the people's comments about him, I found his channel was rumoured to have been deleted by YouTube twice now, which I assume is because he would eat glue and tampons. But that hasn't stopped Shoenice, since he keeps coming back. In fact, his most popular channel has over 100,000 subs. He uploads really often, but then deletes incriminating videos after getting backlash. More specifically, he recently went on the H3H3 podcast, and Ethan and Gila and Shoenice have a history going way back.
I don't hate them. They're little punk-ass bitches, millionaires between their YouTube accounts, and come on and make a video like Ethan's giving Filthy Frank some $1, and then he's gonna rip on me. Ethan and Hila, what is it, Hila and Bigfoot, whatever, she's ugly. You guys are gonna sit there and rip on the smaller YouTubers feeding the homeless? The H3H3 is overrated. Ethan, you were in scumbag emo 5 years ago, and now you think you're some kind of a god, raising money for people.
So this interview was widely anticipated. Previously, the topic of Shoenice was brought up again on the podcast, with the cast reacting to his videos. And when watching the podcast with Chris, it seemed like Shoenice was having fun.
Wow. After 17 years in dog years, we're here, bro.
So Shu, tell me this. I've been trying to get you in here for a while.
You says that you cannot fly.
Well, basically, I was banned from Southwest for a week going to Vegas. The lady's like, this guy's a freak.
Do you have a fucking Reese's peanut butter cup this big?
No, I've never seen one. Shoenice, let's see it.
Oh my God, where did you get that?
What is that? Jesus, man.
But then he subsequently went on rants about how Ethan kept talking over him and how he thought it wasn't fair that he wasn't paid. The guy's really confusing. Here is Ethan and Healer's reaction to what Shoenice had to say after all of it.
He took this down after 2 hours, and in that time, he changed the title 5 times.
Trolled H3H3. What a loser. Scrubneck. Disrespects people like me. I win, Ethan. I win. I will always win against H3H3 because that's who I am. I'm a legend. And you got trolled. Deal with it. I will never support your channel or your scum. You just disrespect me.
What did I do? What did I do? I don't understand. What set him off?
In the end, you're just losers. And I got you. Because I'm Shoenice. The best troll ever. I don't want to be on your podcast.
The people on the podcast joked about how they feared for their safety a little if Shoenice was there in real life, and I don't blame them. Shoenice seems to be very erratic and unpredictable. He's able to switch through many personalities. He says he's just trolling them and it's his character, but I don't know, it weirds me out. His shtick with them is that he has this rivalry with Ethan and he thinks Healer is beautiful. So his videos now is just him quickly eating the food and the wrapper, of course, whilst just staring into the camera. To most of his comments on his video, he just replies with a link to his Cameo, and it feels like YouTube is his main source of income right now with merch and his Patreon. I'll be surprised if he does have this core audience that will pay to support his lifestyle, because anyone can watch a free video on YouTube and just be like, yeah, I wonder what Shoenice is up to today. But then to pay a monthly subscription is something totally different. Now we're going to move on to talk about Shoenice's mental health and if he is abusing substances. In his H3H3 debut, he was called out for being drunk and not being all there. So I don't want to assume anything, but I think to anyone's eyes, Shoenice is definitely struggling mentally, and I don't believe his whole persona on the internet is a character, maybe bits of it with him going into the Simpsons impression here and there.
3 million. But I want to know what happened.
All right, but anyway.
I'm a complete mess. For years. I know I look better, but I'm going insane. Leave me alone, Homer. Okay.
But from everything I've seen, he doesn't add up to be a healthy person, be it physically or mentally. His eating habits are not normal, but I get the feeling that he's just going for the shock factor to grab people's attention. YouTube's a massive platform now, and people would do anything for attention. And for Shoenice, his forte is eating unsafe objects. Back 7 years ago, he was a big person on the internet, but also on mainstream media, with many people reporting on his videos, which I'm sure gave him some buzz. And I have wondered, if people stopped watching, would he then stop? But I don't think that's an option. Sure, his videos don't bang views, but there are still tens of thousands of views there, which will give Shoenice that kick to keep going on, aka money. But what if the money was taken away? Would that be a sign for him to stop? And if he does stop, where does Shoenice go from here? Most of my videos end with some conclusion or some advice to the YouTuber, but I guess with this guy, I guess the first is for him to get help. But then after that, where does he go? Does he go out and get a regular job? Does he try and gain contact with his family again? Truly don't know where Shoenice goes from here. I think the old YouTube was for him, and that's not an insult in any way. Back then, YouTube monetized literally everything, and you could upload what you wanted to a certain extent. And the competition isn't as bad as it is now. But I feel like YouTube has become a platform that wants genuine, funny people who aren't grotesque, with the likes of Mr. Beast and David Dobrik. Mainstream YouTube is steering towards a cleaner image where a man isn't shoving sausages down his gob. I saw a few comments of people who said they'd watch Shoenice if he stopped eating on camera. They want to see genuine vlogs from him and chatty videos. The way that I view Chris isn't just this YouTuber. I see a guy struggling mentally and he happens to put it all on the internet. And sadly, people love seeing others' downfalls and just odd behaviour. So Shoenice was a perfect candidate. He is an entertainment source for many, but I just see a guy who's stuck in the same cycle. And I don't know, maybe we're all making this a bigger deal than it is, and this is just a guy doing what he loves whilst making money. Overall, that is the strange life of Shoenice. I purposefully left out allegations of stuff that I don't want to get into just because I'm not here to expose him. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, give it a like and maybe subscribe, put my Twitter and Instagram up here, and yeah, have a great day.
That's a pro. I like how you pause to think about what's happening for a moment.
No blink.
He's like, yeah. Don't blink, by the way. Oh, man. Oh, dude, he's spitting it out. It's coming out because it's just too much.